Okay, don't laugh. I'm recording in my closet today. So just envision me sitting in my closet with a bunch of clothes surrounding me. A little bit of a humor visualization for us all. I just want to make sure my sound quality is really good, and I'm working on it for you guys. Hopefully, you can tell a difference here. Today's message is very unique. It has to do with separation consciousness. Kind of some bigger existential themes are being thrown here. It really focuses on a person or people around you that maybe have underestimated your value in some way until experiencing it through your loss, which is a very cliche that we always hear is people don't know what they have until they've lost it. But in your particular situation, there's a very specific energetic reason. This is a layered reading for sure, and it feels like it's going to touch on, number one, why others have so easily moved towards the mindset that they think that they can replace things so easily. Like, why is that a common thing that happens in our society and for so many people? And then number two, why you feel the opposite in contrast to that, why you feel like you never can replace things. You can't really move as easily, perhaps, is what's being shown here, is you just don't operate like that. And Spirit kind of wants to explain why. The gist of this that I'm being presented today is this idea of like throwaway culture. It's very strong here in this reading. I'm talking fast shopping, low quality type of products. Think Shein or Amazon, these cheaper quality shiny things, like places that you would buy it from. The concept revolves around how every year you maybe replace your phone, you throw away things instead of fix them. And it's much easier to throw away something than fix it. And so as a result, we just kind of have these cheaper quality products being sold and around us. It's very difficult to find quality things like quality furniture, quality clothes. Parts are made to break, not to last these days. And it's kind of a chicken or an egg thing. Like, which came first? Was it our mindset, or is it these products that gave us our mindset? So you could be experiencing something close to this phenomenon right now, and maybe that's why it's like very specific, is you could be like replacing cheap items more frequently. You could be noticing the quality in the things you purchase, whether that be cheap, whether that be quality. You could be intentionally looking for that. That could be something that's important to you. I think I'll leave the specifics about that are coming through right now because there's a lot, and I'll just throw those in the description. For those who are new here, I kind of always leave the specifics in the description, so be sure to always check out my descriptions. It's just kind of a way to summarize everything so it doesn't get lost. It's also a place for my detail lovers, so I always include how I get what I get in my readings. Also, since my readings are a little bit weird, I have to have like a second home to clarify the weirdness. So what I see here is Spirit pointing today with this, I don't even know what we would call this, fast fashion, throwaway culture, but a vast majority of like our society is operating in the mindset of throwaway culture. And I feel like it's so easily influenced in everything we do, but there's a real point and emphasis on separation consciousness being the real problem behind throwaway culture. And it relates specifically to this person or these people who kind of threw you away. That's the only way I could say that, is kind of just either replaced you or moved on quickly in this throwaway culture mindset. So I feel this message is going to generalize why we even have a culture of throwaway conditioned people. But more specifically, this could be a message where I'm just channeling for a specific person who's felt very easily replaced in certain situations and circumstances in their lives. And this might clarify maybe why you couldn't replace them or these people in the same way that you felt so replaced. So if you felt or currently feel maybe replaceable, or you've been treated replaceable, or you could be on the opposite end where you know there's something special and irreplaceable deep down about you and you're aware and conscious of that, but you're not shown through the actions of others, this is a message for you. It's not a message for people who have low self-esteem. I don't see that, or anything where they're feeling bad about being replaced. It's more so a message for those who don't feel like they get what they give and are treated in a way that feels so different to how they feel inside. Like they feel so irreplaceable, yet they are treated with this throwaway culture as a result. This message is for you. I think the first part of this message is going to be why others think they can so easily replace people or everything. Why they're operating in this mindset of throwaway culture. To start, we are all connected, but the paradox of that connection is we are not all the same. So we all have unique vibrations that define us all. A good way to think about this is an example that's coming up for me right now is we can all technically achieve the same note, but on different instruments. Like if you play music, you know that each instrument could technically achieve the same note. But since the instruments are different, the note is going to sound different. And so the same is true for all of us is we are all connected to sound and music, to playing, to achieving that note, but our instruments are different. And that's what we can think about as our vibration. With this example that I think Spirit is giving me here is, I think, explaining why you're not replaceable, why anybody isn't replaceable. But even still, it's more normal or common for others to assume that they can play the same note on every instrument, or just get a new instrument and they'll be able to mimic the sound of the last. I'm sensing here that people in your life, people you've experienced closeness with, think that they can replicate you easily because they themselves are focused on the performance rather than enjoying or listening to the sounds of the music in depth. Music metaphor is very important. It's like they're focused on the show, the end result of the music that keeps everything moving. And they're not just going to stop playing, so they fill in the space with a new instrument, even though it sounds nothing like yours. And what I see from this is there's a part that stems deeply, deeply tied to conditioning that really wants to come through here. Societally, we are conditioned to keep the machine moving, even if things feel off or wrong. For example, like companies, they replace employees. They replace things that are broken instead of fixing them. We prioritize as a society productivity over what really resonates. And this is largely due to the conditioning that we experience. So people start to believe through this industrial productivity conditioning that everything is replaceable and nothing has deeper meaning or essence. And so they kind of like shove off their feelings, push them in the background, and keep playing. And the reason this person or the people around you that have kind of like replaced or kept the music moving is they do so out of what I sense here is like ego protection, but they're also heavily illusioned from what I can see here. They protect that illusion by continuing to be productive, continuing to move forward, because there's a deep feeling of like loss that would come with sitting with that the music doesn't feel right anymore. If we really, really sit with the fact that everything is replaceable, we don't have to sit with the fact that unique opportunities pass us by. We don't have to sit with the fact that we've lost something that really meant something to us. So it's much less risky to just keep buying the cheap items and to anticipate them to leave or break in the future, because we don't want quality things that we're going to have to start becoming really deeply attached to and not want to lose. So with this person or these people that have treated you in this throwaway culture kind of like mindset, they're operating with intense ego, where you as a polar opposite of them are operating on this much higher level of consciousness. You're not able to perform throwaway culture or have the illusion of replaceability because you actually see the vibration of what's under the field. And you might not be conscious of that. You might not know that you're able to do this, but with these people that are operating on lower frequency in more ego is they have this blindness that exists with them. They're deep inside conditioning in the sense where they perceive everything with surface level form rather than frequency. And you are looking at things through a much deeper lens. You're able to actually see the things for what they are without illusion. So I think the first half of this message is seeing the separation between you and these people who easily replace you. The illusion that exists with those who move on too quickly or try to replace things are because they're like deep into forgetting unity in a way that you aren't. Their separated consciousness fragments everything. And so therefore everything looks replaceable to them. And I think Spirit really wants me to stress that you're not in that illusion. These other people are. And the reason you may have struggled to understand people who easily dismiss or replace like that isn't because you're somehow more emotional or you care more. It's really just because you're more conscious. And I'm simply reminding you of that fact right now and that truth. Your consciousness is the reason you can't escape in distraction or try to replace these instruments like everyone else is. You recognize the frequency is unique and you kind of like mourn it instead of living under the illusion it can be replaced. And this is what actually helps you move on and create better music in the future entirely, instead of filling the gaps and pretending the instruments are doing something with that performance. I think those who keep moving on with the music that doesn't sound right actually create something more chaotic, and they're kind of like continuing on with that chaos rather than mourning, recognizing, seeing through the illusion, and creating something new. This is such an interesting message because I see Spirit being delicate here to not give you too much of the narrative of you are so special, you are so irreplaceable, because you already know that. It seems this message keeps emphasizing that it's really common for people around you to think that they can replace you and to think that they can replace most things in their life at the same time. This isn't about you being undervalued. And that's really, really stressed here, even though you already know that. And I see that clearly. You already see the uniqueness of your shape, but these actions that others take really kind of confuse you and confuse your truth. So this message is really about the illusion of separateness that's trained in the collective to believe that essence or our deeper vibration is like interchangeable. It's replaceable. But what's really happening is those around you who are performing in this throwaway culture mindset and this lack of awareness are just replacing your roles, not you. And so maybe the real question isn't why can't you be replaced? You already know that. It's why can't others see it? Why do they keep choosing illusion? And I think that that's the bigger message here, is really stressing that conditioning. But if we do name it, though, the real reason that I see here that you cannot be replaced ever in this entire life is because your vibration, your deeper one, the unique one that gives your instrument its specific sound, it's also created a very specific shape around the people that are close to you in your life. You hold a specific structure in their field without them realizing it, and that cannot be replicated. It cannot be duplicated. So when you leave and you remove yourself from where you were holding that structure in place for these people, they immediately will try to fill that role to have someone else hold that structure. And that's why replacement should kind of look like flattery to you of how important you were, instead of look like it being a reflection of your worth or your value, like you're easily replaceable, you're dispensable. It's nothing like that. It's really just what you were holding energetically in their space. They immediately want to fill that hole. So if you look at how often you were replaced quickly, whether it be by one person, people, you can see how much you've held for these other people or how important and unique your role actually was, rather than it being a backwards mind trick that you were nothing and you did nothing and you were easily replaced. It's more so the opposite of that truth. It's more so how important you really were, how much you were holding, how devastating it is to like actually lose you. They need to replace it very quickly, but they're not conscious that they're doing that. I don't see. So when people try to replace you, they usually are successful temporarily. And I do see with whoever it is we're talking about here, whether it be multiple people, a person, is they are successful in the very small, brief time where someone comes in and like barely holds the structure. These people or this person is just trying to copy what they can't see, what they can't understand. So they find something that's similar in shape that will perform the role that you did, that will try to copy the way that your instrument sounded. But once that replacement fails, which is inevitable, the absence of you feels heavier because this person or these people are forced to confront the original frequency that the duplication couldn't hold. So there's kind of like this inevitable destabilization process that comes from losing you specifically. And it's not because like you're special, which I see Spirit wants to stress here. It's not an egoic kind of, you're very special, hear that and understand that. It's more of like your presence is purposefully so awake and so conscious to hold so much. Not that you're holding on burdens or you're overextending. It's just like what your signature is on these people's fields. And so the removal of that is to purposefully push souls to awaken, to confront the truth of separation that you were already kind of like living in. It's trying to separate their ego from their consciousness. It's like you're holding a mirror to them and showing them, look at how conscious I am and how unconscious you are. Even if you're not doing it purposefully, it's just your presence. It's just your essence. So it's through this process of giving your unique, irreplaceable, energetic sound that these individuals kind of like begin to understand that they aren't able to just like pick up another instrument and play that sound exactly. Through this process of you being there, holding, leaving, them trying to replace, they begin to see the illusion that they live under slowly, or at least that's the attempt that their guides are putting on them through this experience. Really, the whole music, the whole composition will just feel off the more they keep trying to play and perform. And your presence is particularly important because the contrast, the gap is so wide. Having someone so awake basically sounds so much louder. And the replacement sounds from other instruments could never be as loud, could never be as like impactful. So the message today is yes, you are irreplaceable, but not because you're superior or special or anything like that, even though you're special to me. That the message is that Spirit wants to stress. It's not an egoic, you're special kind of message. It is more of an understanding that you are operating on this higher level of consciousness and that you are able to face loss in a more direct way and then rewrite music entirely rather than carry on with this performance that is not right. You aren't hiding behind ego and you can see people on these deep levels, not just this surface level understanding. And you know that you can't just replace something and move on quickly. You're more conscious. So for this person or these people that replace you or try to, they look at connections and roles as having very surface level understandings through their immense conditioning. It's through losing someone like you that is meant to wake them up, to show a loud enough gap, to show them the illusion that they're living in. It's really a choice though, because sometimes it breaks the person's ego, it breaks their conditioning, and they can't go back after it's broken. But other times they can be so deeply intertwined with ego that they'll keep letting the music sound off and they'll keep running that musical piece, even though it feels wrong. They'd rather perform bad music than start over and address why the main instrument that made the right sound cannot be replaced. So in other words, the message isn't you're irreplaceable in the egoic sense. It's that your awareness allows you to feel what others have forgotten how to feel. You see the difference between sound and noise, between form and frequency, and you live awake in a system that has really forgotten how to listen. Here is take 2 of our outro because we've outgrown take 1. This last part is for newbies. If you're new here with me now, hi. I need to inform you that leaving comments helps me channel more effectively. Think of this as an energetic nudge where I can pick up on and be able to sort through what you need to hear easier. This doesn't mean you have to like share some grand, intimate detail about your life in the comment section for everyone to see. They can just be simple, energetic nudges to feel something from you. It just helps me channel better. But if you're nudging me a lot and maybe I'm not picking up or channeling for you, I just want to clarify, it's not like a line where you're waiting for your turn because others are being more prioritized over you. It's more of divine timing. The message will find you and direct when it's needed for you. This has nothing to do with how powerful your energy is to me. I may feel it very strongly, but it may not be the time to tell you something. It's all about timing. And then finally, I want to say that my neutral positioning to responses might be jarring to some, but this is really how I protect the energy I channel. I want you all to know that I literally read every single one. They are all so honored. I'm actually a little bit insane about reading everything. Every single word is read here. That is my main priority. So it might look like negligence or ignoring, but the way I actually honor your comments and nudges is through the quality of my readings, not through responding to some or cherry picking those who get hearts today and likes today. You are all equally being prioritized here, not a few here and there randomly. So thank you all for being here. I love you probably more than makes sense for some strangers online that I've never met in the physical world, but here we are feeling like we've known each other for our whole lives. So cheers, friends.